is going to talk about something very, very special. Vidya said, if Facebook is a radio channel, that will be the largest radio channel in Sri Lanka. He is going to talk about something very, very special. People on Facebook. Vidya said, if Facebook is a radio channel, that will be the largest radio channel in Sri Lanka. He is going to talk about something very, very special. People on Facebook. Vidya said, if Facebook is a radio channel, that will be the largest radio channel in Sri Lanka. He is going to talk about something very, very special. Vidya said, if Facebook is a radio channel, that will be the largest radio channel in Sri Lanka. He is going to talk about something very, very special. Vidya said, if Facebook is a radio channel, that will be the largest radio channel in Sri Lanka. He is going to talk about something very, very special. Vidya said, if Facebook is a radio channel, that will be the largest radio channel in Sri Lanka. He is going to talk about something very, very special. Vidya said, if Facebook is a radio channel, that will be the largest radio channel in Sri Lanka. He is going to talk about something very, very special. Vidya said, radio channel, that will be the largest radio channel in Sri Lanka.
Digital, and why we are talking about mobile leveraging this digital advantage. If you go back to the energy or electricity era, electricity was invented somewhere in 1800s, and then it took about a good 50 to 100 years to get all these appliances into place. First it started with the light bulb. The light bulb, and then thereafter the radio, the TV, all that came into being. Telecommunications also will go through the same journey. Why I say that? First it was about connecting places. We connected places in terms of landlines. So you can call from one house to the other, or one office to the other. Then we started connecting people. That is the second generation, or the mobiles. And now we are in the generation or era of connecting things. Just like your washing machine came into existence, or your hair dryer came into existence, everything and anything is connected to electricity. In future, you can imagine an era where everything and anything will be connected to the net. We call it Internet of Things. And how will this change the marketers? How will this change the consumer? How will this change the competition? I'll just touch upon some of the key areas that we need to look at when we go through this journey, and what are the things that we need to be mindful when we serve customers, and what are the opportunities that we can go after. I was reading a HBR article, and Michael Porter, being the author of Porter 5 Forces model on competition, he now is tweaking his model to reflect this new era of connected things. Because it is about new competition that is going to evolve. It is not the traditional competitor that you are going to fight with. The consumer is also smarter, and the supply chains will be different. So something that even the well-known academics are looking into and researching about. This is facilitated by end-to-end connectivity. We started pure mobile connectivity, but now it's about end-to-end connectivity. It is about connecting things, or connecting maybe the washing machine, maybe the fridge, or maybe the container that you have loaded into the ship, anything can be connected and anything can be tracked. So this improvement in connectivity, improvement in technology has enabled this. From 2G to 3G to 4G to 5G. What is the biggest difference? It's about connectivity, it's about speed. Between 4G to 5G, you might think 4G is good enough. Why do you need 5G? With 4G, now Dialog announced 1 gig speed on 4.5G. So if 1 gig speed is there, why do you need 5G? 5G is about latency. So it will cut down the latency from 20 millisecond to 1 millisecond. And it will also give 1 gigabit speed. So with that improvement in latency, you can do many more things. You can run driverless car because the time it will take to give the reaction or the message is so short. You cannot run driverless car on a 4G network. You need 5G to have that optimum experience. Similarly, the technology is improving, and on technology, there's a lot of inventions are taking place. And beyond humans to Internet of Things. As I mentioned earlier, we are not talking only about humans anymore. We are talking about connecting things. And this is built on basic layer, which was initially about sensors, putting sensors all around, collecting information. And then we are putting controls, where we can send certain information to the sensor and then do certain functionality. Then the next stage is about pulling analytics, pulling data from those sensors, and getting insights out of that. So the Internet of Things and this machine learning is also getting advanced. The sensors that you had 2 years ago is not the sensors that you're going to have today. So this, again, will follow the same journey that what you have seen in electricity. And going digital is beyond growth. We are talking about growth, but it's about survival. It's purely about survival. If you don't go digital, you will not be existing next year or year after. There are so many organizations that have gone bust because they didn't adapt or they didn't move into the cycle fast enough. You know how fast Netflix is taking away cable TV customers. Similarly, Uber, Skype, Viber, all these OTTs are going to eat into the traditional businesses. So it is digital. Going digital is not only about creating new revenue streams. It is about survival. Either you go digital or you disappear or you die. It's so crucial because now the technologies have evolved. Consumer is very smart. Consumer has smartphones with them, and all the platforms are there. So you cannot postpone this decision or the journey towards digital any longer. So how do we do this? Why do I say mobile-centric digitalization? Why shouldn't it be PC-centric digitalization? And when we look at digitalization, everyone starts with shrink and squeeze. You try and move this PC world, your automated online PC experience to mobile. That is normally what we do. When we say we want to go mobile, we convert that PC online experience to mobile. Or should we look at mobile first? In 2013, when Facebook had a massive challenge in terms of building value, the share price just after the IPO in 2012 started coming down. They saw, how can we address this? How can we attract more advertisers? And they took a big decision, we are going to do mobile first. And how many organizations that we know are doing mobile first? Then how can we build customer experience? And how can we transform customer experience through digital? And I'll also talk about how can we disrupt businesses? Once your ground is safer, once you have sorted your end, how can we go and eat somebody else's lunch? So the shrink and squeeze model it is not sustainable. Imagine, I think one example I've seen is that in banking, banks go online, maybe not in Sri Lanka. Banks go online and they say, from tomorrow, you can apply for your loan online, or you can apply for a lease online. What do? They put an interface on their website or on the mobile and say, send the request. And it is somebody, the same credit manager or credit officer who collects all these requests, processes it manually, and it takes 2 weeks, and then contacts the customer to give the update. So in the upfront, bank has gone online. Bank is digital. But is it real digital? Are they really using the power of digital technologies? Or are they just trying to put a wrapper around your traditional processes? If it's true digital, then the consumer should be able to get the answer whether he's getting the lease within 5 minutes, maximum 10 minutes. Because the bank should have all the data about that customer, about all the transactions, all the patterns. And if it's a new customer, again, when you put certain demographics, looking at similar customers, tell whether what is the kind of rating that we can give and what is the loan amount or lease amount that you can give. So the traditional approach is putting a wrapper around your current physical process or offline process. That is not going to work. Putting an app around your physical offline process is not going to work. You need to think fresh. Because otherwise, just conversion of your offline will be a miserable failure. So how do you do mobile first? When over the weekend I was looking at a mobile health app or health service. So the team was demonstrating to me on a PC, a nice interface. Then I said, can I see the mobile version? Because most of us will look at mobile. Unless you have so much of time at office, you will not have time for this personal stuff at office to do on a computer. You will do while on a traffic jam or while sitting at home. So that mobile experience has to be much better. But do we think mobile first? Or do we try to first do on a desktop and then try and fit it to the mobile? So mobile first is about starting mobile first. Why should we do mobile first? What is the reason for that? Because mobile is going to outpace PCs, has already outpaced the number of PCs by many fold. And this is even more relevant for markets like Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. For Bangladesh, 95% plus people are accessing the internet through mobile. They don't know what a desktop is in Bangladesh. Here also, apart from Colombo and the main cities, everyone will be going to the internet through the mobile. So that customer doesn't know what it is to access through a laptop, where the development will be done on the desktop. So there's a big disconnect, and that is why we need to start mobile. Mobile first also gives, or doing on mobile also has some constraints. And when you have constraints, you need to focus. You need to focus on the screen size. When it's smaller, it's much challenging. I've given 20 minutes, so I have to try and squeeze in within 20 minutes. If I have 1 hour, I can give more examples. If it's 5 minutes, then my task will be even more challenging. Similarly, the screen size. The smaller the screen size becomes, how can you deliver a good experience, a relevant experience? And the network speed. How important the network speed, or how do we overlook the network speed? We recently launched a music app in Bangladesh. Within 2 weeks, we have about 150,000 downloads. But that app was developed in New York. But in Bangladesh, we are just 3G and most of it is 2G. So the 2G customer gets a lousy experience because it's not optimized for that environment. Because in New York, they don't know what is 2G. That is why Facebook has labs focusing on 2G environment, 2.5G, and 3G, as well as 4G. Because we tend to disconnect from the consumer. And network speed matters a lot. Whether you keep the customer with you, if it's more than 10 milliseconds in terms of time that it will take to load the page, 10 seconds, then you tend to lose the customer. 17 seconds, you lose about 40% of customers. They go away. It's boring. You don't want to look at a page loading for more than 10, 15 seconds. So speed matters. You need to optimize your app. You need to optimize your experience. You shouldn't be developing on a 4G environment and when the consumer is going to use on GPRS or Edge. Similarly, the modes of use. In the PC world, it's more like that home, work. It's more nomadic. But in mobile, it's varying situations. You will not get the fullest attention of the consumer, but he expects the application to work fine. That again is a big challenge. Maybe while walking or while talking to someone, you want to use the app. Or you end up using the app, and if the experience is bad, you complain. So you need to be mindful of that situation, and you need to optimize your app development. The best example that we have is the Dialog Self-Care app. We have ported this to Bangladesh as well. On the GSM World Award in 2015. Again, it's built on mobile first. When I was at Dialog in 2010-11, we tried, I think, 2-3 times to develop, but this is after like the third iteration. Managed to get it right, because also with this we looked at all the underlying layers of platforms, not to just put a wrapper and say that we have a self-care app, but to look at all the plumbing, all the processes, and make sure that it is digital friendly, so that customer can get that 360 experience. And that is why the GSM Association recognized for customer service framework. It's not only an app, because app alone cannot deliver if the framework and the plumbing is not ready. And then how do we, once you have done that, how do we move from mobile first to customer service transformation? How can we transform customer experience? How can we win customers and win in every moment of the consumer? It is also about moving from multi-channel. In order to win in every moment, you have to move from multi-channel to a omni-channel experience. You will be serving customers across multiple channels. Through CRMs, if you are lucky, we will have fairly good understanding of those interactions. But that is not perfect. And we need to put the consumer at the center, not the channel at the center. And make sure consumer can look at an offer on wow.lk and come and purchase at the Dialog outlet. Or can look at the offer on Dialog outlet and go and purchase it on wow.lk. But that experience has to be seamless. And to do that, you need to make sure each system is connected. This is easier said than done. Because especially in the telecoms world, we have grown over a period of last 20 years. And there are separate systems, and each doesn't talk to the other. But customer doesn't care. Customer wants that single experience. And that is what we need to deliver. This is one journey of a customer, day in the life of a customer who goes through, wakes up, go to office, has lunch. But as a mobile service provider, we have only a very little bit of time with him. Maybe while coming to office, because after office he's at Wi-Fi network. At home, he's on the Wi-Fi network. So how do we serve him? How do we win in every moment that he's there? Not only that 10% time he's with the mobile network. And in order to do that, you need to also make sure that all your channels, all your interactions are connected. This opens up a new dimension in terms of monetization thereafter, because you don't lose the customer and he's there throughout the day. How has Dialog done this? when Dialog looked at this challenge, they looked at how to move from mass customer to a niche and to the segment of one. Because every customer wants that personalized experience. And that is the power of digital. With using the power of digital, you can make that personalized experience without burning your P&L. Without burning down your company, you can deliver that personalized experience. And this was addressed by looking at two areas. One is automating processes, the other one is digital analytics. So together with automated processes and analytics, you can make sure that you can give an offer which is very relevant to that customer instantly. Or when you serve that customer, you can make sure that you send a offer to upsell, again, because of combination of analytics and automated processes. So we might tend to look at automating processes but overlook analytics. What do we do with the information that we collect? And how can we create a better experience? How can we use that information to give a personalized experience? In the interest of time, I will not go through much. This is also about covering the journey, consumer journey, and mapping the consumer journey, making sure this basic principle of automation of processes and analytics come together to give relevant services, relevant application in every stage of the journey.
Super.
So driving deeper engagement, the third one is about using social media. And social media is also a very powerful tool. You can listen, talk, share, and transact. It is kind of the enabler in terms of customer interactions. Our case study here is about Robi. We have spent a lot of time in Bangladesh to nurture this space, because this, we believe, is the ideal platform to reach customers, because we have also a very large young population. About 70% is below 30 years of age. And Robi is the world's #1 in terms of most socially devoted brand in the world. We were the world's #1 in Q3 of 2015, and Q4 we had to shut down social media on government instructions. And Q1 2016, again, we are the #1 in terms of socially devoted brands. And what does it mean? Having number of followers, response rate, response time, and answering most of the questions.
So,
This by no means an easy task, but something that has given so much value to the brand. It has given so much of benefits as well as help to attract young customers.
Super.
Yeah, done. I won't go through much. Lakshman is. So the one last one I want to just share in terms of enabling. How do we enable all this? Easier said than done as enterprises. How can we enable? Imagine the era of voice where you have international gateways. When AT&T or Vodafone wants to send a call to Sri Lanka, they connect to something called an international gateway. And you don't know, your friend in UK can call direct because they have a connectivity to that gateway. Similarly, in the internet world, there's no such gateway where if Google or if Samsung wants to send an offer to our customer who also knows what is the age, whether we can do a billing transaction with that customer, whether he knows the location, all that information is not exposed. But we have built this, Axiata has built this gateway called Mobile Internet Fulfillment Exchange, or MIFE, which gives all this information through APIs. And third parties can integrate with this gateway. It's kind of a hub. And we have deployed this hub across all Axiata opcos. So if Samsung wants to send an offer and reach all the Axiata markets, 260 million customers, they just need to connect to that hub. Or if Unilever wants to do a regional campaign, they can just connect to that hub and reach out to all our 260 million plus customers. So with that, I'll conclude. In terms of digital revolution has begun, I think either you go digital or disappear. Mobile is going to lead the digitalization. There's no doubt about that. And when you go that journey, avoid shrink and squeeze, try go mobile first, and leverage on the power of digital for customer experience in terms of omni-channel, in terms of winning every moment of the consumer, and can you go from mass to segment of one through automation of processes and analytics, and using social media for deeper engagement. And finally, the MIFE gateway or hub to enable all this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Supun. So we are going to come back to that MIFE platform because I think that's the most important one around talking about the brand and managing experiences. Lakshman, you have something to say something? No? Okay. So next, digital advertising largely can be broken into search and display. And I think Atik is going to talk about the next phase of display, programmatic buying, real-time, or RTB real-time buying, etc. Atik, over to you.
Thanks, Rohan.
20 minutes.
Yeah, I'll time it. Challenge. Okay, guys, I've got some advertising finally for you. And my topic for today is future of digital planning and programmatic advertising. Firstly, as things start with a disclaimer, I am no fortune teller from India who's going to tell you that what is the future of advertising going to be or how this whole nemesis is going to change. But the question itself, or the topic itself, like what is the future of digital advertising? I think it's a very simple answer to that. The future is where the consumer is. But how to get there is the tricky part, because it's very difficult to kind of really follow your consumers. And as marketers, we have to accept that it's really, really difficult. Digital planning, per se, is very different from traditional planning. Traditional planning is generally based on a base audience. It's more sample-driven. There are data sets which are kind of interrelated, correlated, and then extrapolated. Whereas digital advertising or digital planning is more real-time, okay? It's also different in a way that digital advertising is one-to-one communication, and traditional advertising is one-to-many. And this one-to-one communication capability on digital kind of provides an amazing opportunity for brands to connect with your target audiences. It essentially means reaching your audiences at the right time, at the right moment, and for the right action as well. And this one-to-one opportunity that we as marketers have today is kind of creating the makeshift change in whatever we do in terms of our advertising and marketing objectives. What we're seeing and experiencing is that advertisers and marketers are moving from sample-based strategies to audience-based strategies. And this is available because of the help of internet or the web or the technology, whatever you want to call it. As many users on the internet, they kind of do multiple activities. They browse for content, they search for information, they look for products that they are interested to buy in, and so on and so forth. These interactions on the web are actually creating data points, okay? They're yielding data points, sometimes one data point, sometimes many data points. And these data points can be beautifully segmented to know and learn about what the user is doing outside in the domain. So for example, you can know about your demographic data, interest data, what the user is intended to, what is his rated interest, what time of the day he gets activated, so on and so forth. Like for example, if someone is traveling to Sri Lanka, okay, he will go to a couple of travel sites, he'll look for a fare, he'll compare the fares, he'll look at the best hotel deals, he'll look at food restaurants, so on and so forth. All these know about the user that what he is actually going to do. So if this information is available with you as marketers, beautifully segmented into a platform, that's like a gold mine for us. And with the help of technology, okay, all this information, which kind of really flows into a lot of speed, variety, and velocity, makes us available for it to be addressable to that particular user, also make data-informed decisions, also allows us to be very nimble enough to kind of really adapt and change to person, and at the same time, be verified. Because digital advertising is air, like once the money is gone, it's gone. And if you do not verify exactly what is happening, you won't be able to kind of really assess what is the return on investment on that. As marketers, I feel that today we are in the second golden age of marketing. And with the available technology and data and analytics that we have today for the first time, okay, it's time for us to kind of really prove our worth and do better for our brands and our consumers. But the whole process is not very simple because of the whole advertising, ad tech, and MarTech boom, which we have seen over a few years, okay? The journey for an advertiser to reach to his consumer, okay, there are so many companies who have crowded the space, and everybody wants the marketer's share and wants to become more relevant in that whole space. That has led to kind of us as marketers to kind of operate in silos, okay, and not experience the full funnel to kind of reach the consumer. And there's never been a time in our industry that we have seen so many threats and issues. And today, the whole advertising space on digital seems to be so unwelcoming. I mean, I don't know, I mean, how much of you people do agree with me, but I have clients saying that is advertising working, what is digital, I mean, show me the proof, so and so forth. So there is a lot of unwelcome feeling about digital advertising as well. Some of the starking realities that we need to kind of really talk about when it comes to digital advertising is viewability. Okay, this has been a big topic across the globe. 50% of the ads on digital are not actually viewed. The whole premise of advertising is to be seen. And imagine you're paying for something which not is being viewed as well, okay? Because you know about the above the fold advertising and below the scroll advertising, so on and so forth. And this also happens because the way our websites are designed, how our supply ecosystem is actually positioned. In countries like India and some other developing countries, the number is in fact more. It's somewhere around 58% of your advertising money, display money, has not been even seen. Then there is a huge push for performance. Like, this is a word which is kind of completely abused. And over a period of time, internet or digital advertising has taken the burden of this whole performance space. People don't think about what the proposition is, what the consumer wants, what my product is, what my strengths are, what my competitive set is. All they want is leads, they want conversions, they want cost per completed view, so on and so forth. This kind of drives the whole supply ecosystem to kind of do things which probably as advertisers or consumer journey is not very nice in nature. Also, what happens is, suppose there is a brief which comes and says that I want a click-through rate of 1%. Now, nobody's going to give you a click-through rate of 1%, but there are certain traders who know that if I go ahead and put this advertisement in front of a gaming site, okay, I'm going to get 1% click-through rate, right? So what we measure, what we kind of really call performance needs to be redefined as well. Then there is whole aspect of multi-screen. Consumers today, 90% of digital audiences are actually on more than one screen. And there's a research which kind of says that 38% of consumer journeys are completed between multiple devices. So someone is following up a story on TV, then it comes on his mobile, then on desktop, and then finally the conversion happens again through a tablet or through a mobile phone. So for advertisers, the biggest challenge right now is to kind of have a single view of consumer. But at this point of time, since we are operating in silos, okay, it is very difficult to kind of get that. Also, personalization is being really important, as we spoke about the ability of one-to-one advertising. Personalization creates a very, very important factor for our lives because I don't remember which ad I saw on Times of India or BBC in the morning because those ads were not personalized to me. I mean, ask that question to yourself when you open your favorite news website. Did you follow what ad was there on that 300 and 250 or the masthead? People do not remember those ads because they do not resonate with themselves. As brands, for example, you are a car manufacturer and there is a feature which kind of really appeals the adventure audiences. You need to talk about that particular feature to that particular audience. And some resonates with style, probably the styling of the car, that feature needs to be expressed. And then we have the rise of walled gardens. So not all things in internet are bad, but there are some great companies who are doing some remarkable work. But the problem with them is that they are behaving like walled gardens completely. Like for the likes of Facebook, Google, Twitter, I mean, they're great companies, amazing stack, gives amazing amount of results. But what it does for advertisers is kind of cages their data into one platform. So for example, how do I take my information on Facebook to Google, likewise from Twitter to Google, etc. I mean, there is absolutely no chance doing that, and this is kind of creating problems for advertisers. And then finally, who is my audience? The question that we are facing is my audience Bob Smith or it's Bot Smith? Because of the demands that come through, I mean, there is so much non-human traffic, the whole supply side ecosystem is messed up, and as advertisers, we are facing big, big issues on who our real audience is. So how do we break the clutter? I mean, how do we kind of really solve the problem? It's by using data, okay? It's by using the ability to kind of make decisions on whatever we are doing. So if our decision is how to kind of really measure this particular campaign, how to kind of, which ad needs to go to which audiences, what is the KPI on this, so on and so forth. So every particular element of the whole advertising chain, right from the advertiser to the consumer, needs to be data enabled. And for that, you have programmatic. So programmatic essentially is not a line item in your media plan, or it's something which is going to give you responses or click-through. It is a DNA that really automates the whole process of buying audiences or reaching your audiences, right from managing them, creating campaigns, buying them, and you have an advertiser on the other end of the spectrum. You have audiences which kind of need to meet each other. The advertiser will deploy an agency or probably a demand-side platform, okay? And likewise, the publisher who owns the audience will deploy something called SSP, which is called a supply-side platform. Now, these are just jargons, but these are like softwares which talk to each other, like a demand-side platform to a supply-side platform, and a relationship is established, which is like a stock market. Hey, I have a consumer, I have an ad. Does that synergizes? Now, all of this to kind of really connect beautifully, all you need to do is you need to enable data, insights, and analytics everywhere. Now, this is not just for any particular display advertising or network-based advertising, so on and so forth. Use this particular algorithm for all your marketing needs and inside data from multiple sources, and that's what we've been talking across with our speakers in the morning. Is this all really working? I mean, the bigger question that really comes across is programmatic advertising, technology, et cetera, so on and so forth. All of this is working. My answer to that is we as marketers, we need to focus on outcomes and not on the output. So basic steps that we need to take is we need to move from cost per click to validated cost per CPM, cost per impressions. Probably viewable cost for impressions, verified cost for impressions. Then from landings to conversions. We don't want clicks, we don't want visits on our site, we want engagement that kind of lands into the conversion. So how much of your creative or your advertising is enabling and attributing towards the conversion is something that needs to be mapped really well. And from YouTube views to actually audience measurement. Because if you buy YouTube views through a company, they might be forced, they might be just pushed across. But all you need to do is you need to kind of move to the in-target reach, you need to move to your digital GRPs.
Of almost 35.7% from 2014. So this, ladies and gentlemen, goes to show the potential e-commerce plays and the potential that we have to grab and to move forward. Taking you through the journey of the e-commerce industry in Sri Lanka. The early 2000s saw the introduction of e-commerce to Sri Lanka with the launch of pure play sites like e-channeling, which was primarily a commerce-based booking system, and Kapruka, which was an e-commerce site targeting both domestic and foreign clientele. However, the real takeoff happened close upon to 2011 with Anything.lk launching Daily Deals, the Daily Deals model, which was a replica of the Groupon model globally. And thereon, we started seeing value additions and innovation being brought into e-commerce. And we had services like cash on delivery, partnerships with credit card companies, installment schemes, mobile payments, and also non-credit cardless transactions. And we also saw industries like travel take off with companies like Find My Fare and Bookings.lk setting up in Sri Lanka. Having seen the Daily Deals model take off, however, now we are seeing that model erode in Sri Lanka, purely because of the fact that e-commerce companies are wanting customers to engage with them on a longer-term basis, as opposed to a very timed, short, quick burst approach. And that's what we're seeing with brands that who are coming on board with us. They want to be on e-commerce for the long term. They do not want to just put a product for a week, for a month, and then come back to us 6 months thereafter. Wow.lk and other companies such as MyDeals and so on and so forth are also moving into this Wow Mall or the mall-centric open marketplace model. So what are the qualitative factors that are working for Sri Lanka? As you would probably know, and as like our speakers have touched on in various statistics, the consumption patterns are on a rise in Sri Lanka. The number of connected people is on a rise. Online traffic congestion is increasing and is on a rise. The per capita consumption per individual is on a rise. Internet penetration is growing. Last quarter, from over 500,000 people, 80% of the traffic came through mobile devices. Smartphone penetration, mobile broadband penetration is on the rise. The local e-commerce industry is valued at approximately 3 billion rupees, but has been growing twice as much year on year over the last 3-4 years. Since of late, we've also seen e-commerce being taken out from a very Colombo-centric, Western Province-centric product to the masses. And we as a company have seen the masses wanting to buy more, wanting to get online, wanting to browse catalogs and see what merchants and brands have to offer. The world is moving into a gadget-oriented generation, and Sri Lanka also has a very large base of eBay users. Stats that we got from the postal department goes to show that we have almost 125,000 parcels being sent to Sri Lanka on a monthly basis. And this is all purchases done through eBay. So that's what we as e-commerce companies want to change around and want to bring within our context of business. Taking you through the business verticals that span across the e-commerce companies in Sri Lanka. Like I touched on earlier, we have the deals vertical, which primarily is large discounts, time-based promotions, and we have companies like MyDeals, Labai, and Deals.lk, which are predominantly playing in this space. And then we have the online mall vertical, which is the open marketplace where merchants can list themselves on and list their entire product categories and work with us for a longer period of time. And on the mall vertical, we have companies like Wow.lk, Kapruka, who have been the forefronts of e-commerce, Takas, and the rocket internet company Kemu. And then we have the travel segments and the classified segments, which see huge traffic. Classifieds mainly because it targets the common people. What is the digital landscape in Sri Lanka? Again, stats that you have probably seen through most of our speakers today. We are at 27 million mobile connections in Sri Lanka. Over 5 million internet users, over 4 million users on social media, and of which over 2.2 million accessing through mobile devices. The country's telecommunication revolution is forever changing how we work, play, and buy. While e-commerce is a budding industry in Sri Lanka, social media is taking leaps and strides among local internet users. And converting a digitally affluent customer is the challenge of local e-commerce companies. Moving closer to India and looking at the Indian case study and comparing Sri Lanka with India. As you can see, the internet penetration is at almost 30% in Sri Lanka, whereas 15% in India. The per capita GDP is at $3.2 in Sri Lanka and just about $1.4 in India. The e-commerce spend per person is $9 in India and $0.48 in Sri Lanka. The Indian e-commerce spend is almost 6 times larger than Sri Lanka. Sri Lankans are richer and more connected, yet spend significantly less on e-commerce. The Indian e-commerce industry also saw an influx of valuation money being put into the system. And this brought upon huge companies like Flipkart and Snapdeal just booming off and taking off and setting the pace up for the other small timers and the mergers in India. But is the valued funding ecosystem a bubble waiting to burst? Because what we've seen across some of the companies, some of the large establishments in India, money, for example, there was one company in 2014 May, their sales was at $1 billion US. And they grew that by 4 billion to 4 billion by 2015 May. From 2015 May to 2016 May, their sales were still at 4 billion. So the question we should ask is, why can't Sri Lanka be exploiting the e-commerce boom? What's stopping us from this rapid growth? And that brings me to how we feel we should transform e-commerce in Sri Lanka. In reality, when we look at the brands that we work with, many brands want to start off and want to get to a point of a sales increase just overnight. Most brands want online sales from day one. In reality, you need to focus on engagement, trial and error, and putting your investments in e-commerce. You need to start with incremental steps. Brands can't just get on e-commerce and expect their sales to double and triple overnight. You need to be willing to invest, willing to take time to understand what your consumers request from you, understand what the demands are, understand how the dynamics of e-commerce works, and be able to cater to that over a period of time. I'll take an example of one of the companies that works with us, 3M. 3M is known to have little or less outlets, physical outlets in Sri Lanka. And they moved into e-commerce with us about a year ago. And over that year, they were very patient in terms of what they wanted. They knew exactly what products to pick out from their entire catalog and put onto e-commerce. And over the first 3 months, their investments doubled. And that we have been seeing on month-on-month basis. And now 3M has not only just limited themselves to one e-commerce company, but has also moved in to the various other players. And they are using the entire fulfillment channel to get their products to the doorsteps of customers. Internet, the interest of people in e-commerce, as you can see, is widely around the age groups of 25 to 44. And this is primarily because they are inclined more towards technology and its usage. These people are in the forefront of technological revolution and are more open towards online shopping. This is why brands need to get their product mix right when they list products on e-commerce sites. It's not just putting the entire catalog that you have and expecting a customer to pick one and buy it. It's about being relevant. It's about knowing what price points you want to place your products, and it's about being precise in how you market it.
Naresh, 5 more minutes.
What is our way forward? As we touched on, the rise of connected people cannot be ignored. Don't wait for your customers to come online. Constantly be looking at new value propositions to take to your customers. Get your online strategies right. It's about understanding what to do, what products to put, what price points to touch on, and it's also about understanding what brands you put. There are some multinational brands who have got it right with us locally, who know exactly what products would move and what products would create demand in the customer's mind, and that's what local brands should be taking a cue from. Invest in building and growth of infrastructure. Provide seamless shopping experience on an increasing range of connected devices. Online web sales has drastically been dropping, and e-commerce companies should be the first to make their websites or to move into a mobile-first strategy. Integrating social media with retail. Let's skip through that. Being relevant to the customer, as I mentioned, I'll just give a quick example. We launched recently, about 3 months ago, the Fitbit to Sri Lanka through wow.lk. And from the moment we launched it, we had an influx of demand of customers who wanted to buy it, and that came from the upper middle class and the affluent people, the upper class. So identifying what products you put and what targets you target them to is very important. As I talked about the mobile-first strategy, almost 8 in 10 social users use a mobile phone to access social media, and that's what we need to be exploiting. What are the challenges ahead? Are customers just unaware of what e-commerce is? Are they hesitant to get online and transact? Do they lack confidence of transacting financially? Are the products that are being listed online irrelevant? Are brand marketers just too caught up with traditional retail, and is that why they ignore e-commerce? These are our vantage points. Retail commerce in sales in Asia Pacific has seen an increase of, from 2014 to 2015. Sales in the region has reportedly been growing faster worldwide. Southeast Asia is forecast to be the third largest e-commerce market globally. And this is our message to corporates. It is time you revolutionize your ROI. Infrastructure is already available through multiple e-commerce companies locally. Make use of it. Capitalize on the social boom in the country. Create excitement through your brands. Brands that are listed online need to be exciting, and customers need to engage with them. Make e-commerce part of your core sales and marketing strategies. It shouldn't be just one more activity that you look at your meetings. It should be one of the main core activities that you consider and give focus on. You cannot risk being left behind. To e-commerce companies, getting the first and the last mile is of utmost importance. Convenience, price, and variety are things that customers look for. We need to be able to deliver that. Fixing the ecosystems around the open marketplace, in building infrastructure where merchants can talk to you, can update inventory, etc., on lifetime basis. Be bold and innovative with technology. Fulfillment companies in Sri Lanka are still about 5 years behind when it comes to the global industry. And that we see in the frustration that builds up with customers who buy online locally. Strive on consistency. You need to be 24/7. Engage with your customers, build in winning teams, and recalibrate your strategies to be truly profitable. And finally, strive to be the complete shopping experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Naresh. So Supur spoke a little bit about...
There was a time when doing business was simple. Companies made great products and enjoyed great success. Word-of-mouth marketing took place offline, in person. Reaching consumers was less complicated. With the internet boom, markets opened up and marketers had to face a new set of challenges. Solving problems seemed more complicated because the consumer's needs had changed. Unlike selling to traditional customers, today companies also sell to partners, and their experience with the product decides the fate of the brand. With competition and the threat of new entry, businesses have become more vulnerable than ever before. In a complex market, understanding and interacting with customers is critical for survival. But don't worry, there is nothing to worry about. Millennium IT, together with Oracle, have introduced the Millennium IT Customer Experience Suite, which is a complete set of best-in-class, integrated, cloud-enabled solutions that encompass the entire customer journey. Millennium IT Customer Experience helps you break down organizational barriers so you can connect engagements, build advocacy, and grow revenue throughout the consumer life across multiple channels and devices. It's not just a good idea. Frankly, it's great for business. It has features that will strengthen your social interactions, increase sales, improve your service delivery, and streamline market initiatives. For Salesforce automation, Oracle Sales Cloud offers an array of capabilities built to meet the essential needs of sales reps and sales managers. For marketing automation, Oracle Marketing Cloud enables marketers to plan and execute campaigns while delivering a personalized customer experience for their prospects. For efficient customer service, Oracle Service helps you engage with customers, empower employees, and adapt quickly to changing customer expectations. And to manage your social relationships with customers, Oracle Social Cloud acts as a unified social platform that delivers a seamless experience across listening, engagement, content creation, community management, paid media, and social media. Millennium IT Customer Experience is the one-stop solution to help you achieve all your branding and sales objectives for your business. Our team at Millennium IT has also built unique value-added services and solutions on top of Oracle technology. with certified consultants on both customer experience and Oracle technology, together with a track record of successfully implementing large-scale application deployments on CX and CRM. We simply live and breathe customer experience. With the world's best-in-class technology and consultancy, Millennium IT CX is clearly the best customer experience platform designed to help you know your customer better. Millennium IT. Innovation is power.
Now it's Sunil. Sunil, over to you.
Thank you, Ron. Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, thanks to the sponsors for making this event successful, specifically to MIT for inviting me here. I work with Oracle, and the LOB I work with is improving customer experience through Oracle applications. So since morning, we have been hearing that social media seems to be catching up with everybody. And as we speak, we have so many Facebook, so many tweets, even about this event is going on. So let's talk about what do we do when we have so much of things going on in social media, and how do we use that? So in our world, we call it social platform. So platform is a place where everybody kind of come in, share their experiences, and then we need to do something from those experiences. So let me use some of my slides. So I would like to tell you what are the challenges we have when we have so much of noise going around in social media, and what an enterprise can do to benefit from this huge ride of social media. And then I have a solution which can enable you to, okay, one point I would like to make in the beginning: having a Facebook page of the company is not enabling you in social media. There's a lot more which needs to be done, and we are here to explain you more about that. And also, I'll pick some use cases where how some of the global companies or some of the regional companies have enabled them socially. Let's look at this one slide. This is a very busy slide. And if I just pick a few, look at this Facebook. There are more than, this is all in 1 minute. There are more than 400 likes about something. If you look at Twitter, there are roughly 350 comments about something. And we just heard from my fellow speakers that Sri Lanka has very good penetration of mobile phone users, and 50+ percentage of them are smartphones. And 80% of all online social things are done using a mobile phone. So definitely a lot of contribution is coming from Sri Lanka market to this as well. Now, with so much of discussion, talks, video upload, likes, dislikes going on, what can we do? We got to listen. Listening is very, very crucial. Let's see what some of the gurus are talking about. I would like to just pick one because I heard some of them talking about brands. What is a brand? Brand is purely what a customer or consumer feels about a product or a company. That's been changing a bit now. It's what your friends and relatives and your acquaintances are talking about a brand is what makes the brand today it is. So imagine this. Companies are spending millions of dollars in improving their brand visibility. But you could have your neighbor experience that product and he didn't like it. And he just say, this product is no good. There you go. Me being his friend in Facebook, I will read that. And you think I'm going to use that product? Chances are very, very less likely. So let's agree to enable a company socially, we got to listen first. All right? So once we get to listening, we have other challenges as well. I spoke about having so much of noise going on. What kind of listening is required for your company? And are we doing social for sake of doing social? And one of the point is also that if we are spending X dollars on a particular program for social, are we actually getting that much return out of it? So these are some of the practical questions we always ask, that we will get into this social enablement. What do we get in return? Do we have enough commitment and outcome coming from the market? So let's see how we can measure them as well. So, as we all are familiar, tip of the iceberg is always listening. And then it goes beyond what do you do after you listen. So, if I just say listening was the first activity, which was the tip of iceberg, there is a whole lot of social relationship management you would be doing to ensure whatever you have heard needs to be put into use. So what do we use for after we listen in social media? Everybody thinks social media, once you listen, you can do a good customer service because people are complaining, you take care of them, your problem is solved. Picture this. You do a audience building. What is audience building? You basically do a social profiling and you create new set of prospects based on what they are talking. So there you go. So you have a new set of customer to whom you can sell a new product. You can look at doing a campaign in a specific country. One of the morning speakers told about Sri Lanka not to only look as an island, look at globally. If you're a company having a very good product and you're looking at expanding to other countries globally, you could do a test market within campaign. When you do a campaign, people come back with their feedback. Now, how do you engage that set of group of people in that country? Using social, okay? So that's how you could be doing a new country development using social. There is something which is very interesting here is product development. Now, we all know any company, product development is a very, very expensive. You need experienced people from industry, and it takes a lot of time. But picture this. There's a group of people talking about something not good or something lacking in a product. If that information can be funneled back to your company's product development team, there you go. You have extension of your product development team existing in social media. Bring that information. You could use that group to do a continuous dialogue and work on creating a new product. Later, I have a success story from a company which has done that fantastically, and they have been very, very successful. So pretty much, I can see anything is possible using social media. So it's just not good customer service. And also you see this. If somebody is talking something bad about your competition, it's an opportunity for you. A set of customers are not happy there. You could tap into that and ensure that they are funneled back to your sales team, and you could take care of them as well. One of the key things which is also important when we are doing a good social enablement is also to ensure that whatever KPI, whatever ROI, whatever commitment we are giving to our customers are maintained through this channel as well. So as I heard from my speaker friend from Robi, he spoke about we have a commitment of responding to them in 15 minutes. The resolution is given in 15 minutes. If your company is currently doing a resolution, not in social media, but otherwise, the same can be given in social media as well. There won't be a new team required to start working on it. So very, very simple and integrated solution required to make sure that your company is enabled in social. So this we spoke about. You have to listen. And what do you listen? You have to listen to different topics which are of interest to you. Now, social media, as I said, is not only for your customer care, it is for all the LOBs. So different LOBs would like to listen to different things. So we create those topics, we create locations where we want to hear them, and use the right set of tools. So you need to have a provider who can think through the entire thing. You don't need only one, then you get stuck and you look for another partner to do something else. So look for a partner who can do the entire life cycle of social engagement for you. Once you are listening, you would be doing an engagement with them based on what you have heard. So that is something which you engage them with whatever topic you have started listening with them, and then you analyze. Now this can go back and forth a few times, because once you start listening to them, then they are engaged, then you start positioning them something, and then you take them to the next level. So that's how you start extending the entire company's products and services through social platform. So this again speaks a similar thing where you could do your personalized marketing and make sure that your marketing is optimized. We heard a lot about omni-channel and e-commerce. All of this, again, can be an offshoot of your social, which you initiated in social, and then you engage and do your commerce part of it. And last not the least is you're empowering your team to ensure that they use social and get benefit out of it. So some of the key outcome which we can think of is, beyond monitoring, you can uncover a lot of actionable social insight with which you can actually do using the listening engine. A bit small, I don't think the people at the last can actually read. And I can say global scale. I spoke about things, listening strategy for a global reach. So a market which you have not been able to penetrate or open, by simply using social, you would be able to reach out to those markets which you have not thought of. So that's a new market for you altogether. And then once you have this activated social data, now this data helps you to do a lot of your future planning. When do you release your next product? When do you release your next version? Things like that, which is your core of product improvement or new product launch, all of that can be planned based on your social input which you are getting. For those who are from IT, have some technical background, would like to know how all of this work. Every organization has on-prem solutions, your own product, CRM, your own solutions. You would like to bring data from social, which is basically in cloud, bring them and put them together to get all of these rings which I have put here. So this helps you to identify issues to improve customer experience. This helps you to do your brand image. You improve your brand image based on information you have collected. And you could do a lot of targeted market campaigns to make sure that your products are heard, your products are making sense to those audience with whom you are targeting. Let's take some use cases. So everybody knows this Sapporo Brewery, a large company from Japan. They make a lot of good quality beer. Now, they, after having a social enablement, their traffic just increased 135% in just 1 year. And look at their response time. So whenever there used to be a connection to their company to get some response, they used to respond in 3 days. This got into reduced to 30 minutes. So they became more responsive. How was this achieved is something which we call it automating the entire experience. So how do you automate the entire experience? So one has to really think in advance, what are the possible things our customers or new prospects would be asking. So when they connect with you, you pretty much think of those 5-6 steps, automate them so that your response time can be reduced from 3 days to 30 minutes. They also got a good marketing and sales effectiveness based on this faster and cheaper deployment of the campaigns. A few good words about Oracle, which I will skip. Okay, this is a company from Argentina, which is a large food producer. Again, their challenge was not being able to reach their customers and not being able to hear their comments because they reach out to the mass market. So they were able to improve as well by using social. Now, many people ask me this question, is it only for B2C or is it for B2B as well? Well, the social platform is same for everyone. So if your company is only in B2B, looking for your customers' feedback, pain, or likes, dislikes, or whatever improvement they are talking about is not going to be that difficult. So the platform is same for B2B and B2C. The same solution can be deployed for enterprise as well.
So Neil, 5 minutes.
Polaris Industries is into the business of making snowmobiles, a lot of sports equipments. So this is one classic case where they got to hear a lot of things in social media, which helped them to produce a new line of product. This came from their loyal customers, and based on which they reduced their R&D by a significant amount of time. Lego Group, this is the last example I have. We all know Lego Group is a large toy-making company, and they have so many products. And when you have so many products and you're operating pretty much in all the countries, you would like to know your marketing campaigns which you are creating for different LOBs, different products, different countries. How are they working? How much of revenue is coming from where? So by deploying the right tools, they were able to actually measure that these set of social tools, when we deploy in, let's say, in the Southeast Asia, this is the kind of response and this is the kind of output we are getting out of it. So there you go. One of the main challenge was when I deploy and when I make my company socially enabled, am I actually able to measure the output? You will be able to measure your output as well. So with that, I pretty much am done with my slides, so we'll wait for the questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunil. We take a commercial. So I don't think we are getting the commercial and the sponsors. So we'll start the panel discussion. Just to give you a couple of notices, very important. We are the guys who are between you and lunch. So let's make it a little bit more interactive. You know the numbers and the Twitter accounts. Just send us the questions. I already got a couple of questions. The theme for this session is about digital and mobile and how it is helping you to, and how you should actually leverage to get more customer experience. So we are going to stay away some very boring, interesting conversations like privacy and information and all that, because I'm seeing a series of questions coming in, and there's a bunch of guys who are actually sending series of messages, probably trying to take advantage of marketing efforts here. Very nice, I like that. Supun, first question to you. So I love the fact that we have 22 or 27 mobile users. Whatever the number that, more than the general population of Sri Lanka, the mobile penetration has really gone up. I believe most of the audience here are brand managers and marketing managers and people who are looking at ways of really enhancing this experience on mobile, because we say mobile first, mobile that. But I think the problem we always have struggled with is the fact that we haven't really had a meaningful way to do that up to now, especially support from telcos and etc. I mean, the best we got a payment gateway, not a payment gateway, SMS gateways and a little bit of SMS messaging. So could you just elaborate a bit more for the next 2 to 3 years? How do you think, as a brand managers, we should be concerned about mobile and building customer experience on mobile platforms, according to what you are seeing?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Rohan. I touched on that mobile MIF gateway. If you look back, the first step is that I think AdReach is the platform that digital advertising platform that we have here. We have in Bangladesh, MobiReach. So mobile advertising, we started way back in somewhere around 2001 or 2, 15 years ago. That was that SMS ports. But since then, we have evolved, and today the mobile advertising alone, the boring SMS alone is far more intelligent, because you can, as a marketer, as a brand manager, you can select your customer base, you can select the age, the demography, their spend patterns, you can select their location and do much more targeted advertising. That is pure SMS, but this is also going into in-app advertising, web advertising. The bottom line is basically how can you enrich that information set that you are providing or targeting, as Atik mentioned, with our information about the customer, with the information that where is he spending his time on the web. Is he e-commerce customer, or is he a Facebook customer? Is he looking for travel deals, or is he looking for something else? So all that information is getting aggregated. Not so sophisticated on the internet side yet, because when the traffic goes through HTTPS, we don't see much. But apart from that, we see a lot on the demographics, and especially dialogue with the presence in digital services has the ability to go beyond pure mobile experience. So the marketing managers can now do campaigns to your customers directly and then do more targeted campaigns. Over the next 3 years, it will get more richer. The content will get richer, and the targeting will be more accurate. And on top of this, we are building the MIF gateway.
Yeah, so my thing is, like I'm sitting here today at Cinnamon Grand. Would Cinnamon Grand now be able to know that Rohan is sitting at this place and offer me 10% discount on their buffet?
Yeah, it can. I think the analytics that through Dialogues gateway they have built, they can pick, for example, who are the customers now roaming from operator Robi in Bangladesh at Cinnamon Grand. In split second, in 5 minutes or within a minute, they can run a query and tell how many mobiles are there and send a message to those 5 customers. If you want to select a certain age group, again, you can do that. So analytics and that capturing that information insights has been quite advanced now. Simple message of picking a roamer, it's basically finding a needle in a haystack. That is possible. But how do you enable the manager, brand manager, to do campaigns on this? Say if Unilever wants to do a Lux campaign, or those days it was on postcards. You want to run a campaign, you send a postcard. Can you run a USSD campaign, say type this code and then give you a request? For that, today, you might have to reach the mobile operator or agency. But with the MIF gateway, you can do that campaign on your own. Together with MIF and IdeaMart, you can create a campaign and publish that code and get customer responses immediately.
When will this be available? Just a quick question, so because I want just
already available. The
already
IdeaMart
available.
platform is already available. So through that, I've seen Unilever doing campaigns here in Indonesia. Right. We just did one with Unilever in Bangladesh for Eid. So that is available. IdeaMart is one of the biggest platforms, not only to end customer, but for enterprises, especially for brand managers, to activate these kind of campaigns where you can see responses immediately, and it is much easier to create a campaign. Within a week, you can create a campaign and go up and running.
Yeah, because the reason why I think it's important is because that ties into the experience. If I get a better experience, then I won't think of that message as an intrusive SMS. I think I'm just being very focused, so I'm just trying to churn out as many questions as possible. So you talked about an interesting area called programmatic buying, right? So the question is, it seems like a very interesting way to be able to buy people looking at any type of interest across devices, etc., and be able to target a message. So it's like marketing heaven. Now, I know you're from, not from the country, but what is your observation about Sri Lanka? Is this available for Sri Lanka right now? Any particular situation that you think we are 3 years out, 5 years out for this? Because it's interesting to see it, but how long does it take before it really becomes available for us to manage an audience as brand managers?
Hello. So your question is
Is it here now?
is it here now? Okay. According to me, see, according to me, it's a platform, right? I mean, it's a platform which is like a Facebook platform. Like you can be in the United States of America, use Facebook, and you can be in some other country and use Facebook. It doesn't matter. Facebook remains the Facebook. Programmatic platforms remain programmatic platforms. Okay, you use it in India, Sri Lanka, they are the same. It is what actually goes in the mix. So for example, what kind of inventory goes in the mix, what kind of data element goes in the mix, that really creates the pizza, like, special pizza, like, what's the topping that you're putting in. So what kind of advertiser data is coming inside the whole ecosystem, what publishers are putting in the system, what the technology companies are doing it.
But are brand managers aware of this, and are they ready to handle this?
I would not be able to comment on that brand managers are available on this, but what I can say is that it's something which is easy to use. People just create a big wall in front of themselves saying that, hey, this is complicated, this is difficult, it's so confusing.
Right.
But it's, as I said, it's just a platform, how you use a Facebook system,
Context.
connect with your friends, connect with different APIs in Facebook. It's exactly the same as to go ahead and look at your consumers as your friends and reach them through that.
I'm just going to connect it to a question we got from the audience. It basically asks about, like, how do you manage one-on-one interactions when you do some things like that? I know it's not about programmatic buying, it's about a post kind of a campaign type of situation. But can you give some advice to everyone here about managing one-on-one interactions? Because that has direct relationship with the customer experience management as well.
Yeah, so when it comes to one-on-one interactions, there are various ways you can do that. One of them is, for example, there's a brand, GSK brand, that we work with, and whenever there is a temperature which kind of really goes beyond a certain period of time, okay, to a certain Celsius in certain areas, we show them an ad which talks about how Panadol can help your cold. Likewise, we work with Bridgestone, where there is something which is raining. So suppose weather precision has become so precise right now that if I am in a suburb in Bombay and I know that there is raining, I can actually show an ad about a Bridgestone tire saying that it's time to change your tires, etc. So these are ways where you can do your one-to-one advertising. In the post facto, when the campaign is over, okay, you need to kind of set segments into the whole piece where you understand that these particular audiences have reacted to this ad in this particular way.
Right.
And basis that, you need to improve your future digital plans.
Seems like a lot of work. So that's a different conversation for now, but we'll come back to that. Naresh, I wanted to ask you,
Colombo-centric buyers, but also buyers.
E-commerce in Sri Lanka, it's primarily mobile phones, all this high-end stuff that I wouldn't buy every day, that are most likely being pushed. Now, for your e-commerce to really gain traction, one of the...
As well as to trust the final mile of fulfillment to your doorstep.
Right. So one of the previous presentations, Zoe, actually, she presented about the 4 ingredients to make e-commerce success. And she said it's trust, access, experience, and then price options. Now, let me leave out the 3 for now and leave on experience, right? How important is it for experience? And let me ask you a very honest question. For me, the best e-commerce experience is on Amazon. Why are we not getting that kind of experience on e-commerce platforms in Sri Lanka?
To be very open and honest with you, Rohan, it is the lack of infrastructure that we as e-commerce companies are facing. Amazon, Flipkart, Snapdeal are huge companies with a huge amount of influx of valuation money being put in. We relatively are very tiny. So it takes a lot to get your systems, your UIs, your fulfillment, your customer service teams, your inventory to that scale. Do we have enough customers purchasing with us for us to bring about that scalability? No. But like I said earlier, the last 2
Wouldn't that be
years.
a chicken and egg situation because you are not providing the great experience? Wouldn't there be lack of people buying things from you?
That's what we are facing. That's what e-commerce is facing.
Right.
We see a lot of dropouts after the first purchase. I'm sure
Right.
at least most of you all in the room would have made at least one purchase and then thought or had a bad experience with either the product or how it was delivered to you or customer service or whatever, and then dropped out from there. So that is the challenge that e-commerce companies are faced with in Sri Lanka. And that's what companies like Wow.lk, Kapruka are changing the game on.
Fantastic. Naresh, let me come to Sunil. I'm seeing number of questions coming up, and I see the same question also repeated number of times. So I'm trying to structure it in a way that we get the most out of the time we have. Sunil, you spoke about very interesting area, quite new to most of the brand managers, and I think people who are here, something called social listening, other than people who are already in that industry. So social listening allows us to manage influencers beyond certain kind of just beyond someone who commenting, liking, engaging, whatever on a page. The problem I've seen in the market is the fact that most of the tools we have are either very expensive, right? And the other thing is that even if you do actually get it, it doesn't have enough data to create a meaningful engagement or meaningful insight for us in markets like Sri Lanka. Is that a fair assessment, or what do you think about that? Do brand managers come across this? Because it's really important.
So if I go about listening a bit more, what actually you're trying to listen? So if it is just the likes and dislike of something from your company, then it's obviously...
No, it's a lot more than that, because I think, let's say we have come to that point.
So beyond that, what you need to do is you need to think of a workflow wherein your first thing is to find out whether somebody liked or not. If somebody liked, then what do you do next? So you need to plan that and create a forum so that people participate in that forum, they get invited in that forum. So once they are invited in the forum, you know a bit about their digital background. So we call it a digital body language. Now those set of people, those who are qualified to go to level 2 discussion would be moving on to level 3 discussion as well. Now all of this is automated. None of them are going to be manually done by anybody in a company. So this is the place where the tools comes into the picture. So these tools, you said right, yes, they are expensive, but there are some cheaper options available even in Sri Lanka right now. During the break, do talk to us. We'll help you to understand what is that you're trying to monitor. You would be able to monitor a topic. You would be able to monitor those area of your interest, things like that. And then you basically go step by step in qualifying those respondents, and then you move to the next stage. And then there is going to be a point from where your people, be it customer service or sales or somebody from your company, would get those information moved on to their inbox. And then onwards is one-to-one, and you take care of them.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sunil. So I'm just going to take a couple of questions from the audience. Please keep sending it in. There's an interesting question about, apart from social media, what are the other touch points do you suggest for digital marketing in Sri Lanka? Sunil, I'm just going to ask that question because I think the truth is the slang word for internet right now is social media. Yes, internet existed, but now the word that is people pretty much use it will be social media. So apart from social media, what are the things that people could do to drive experiences on digital?
So there are a lot of groups and forums available today where people are information. So they are the one to be watched as well. So that's a separate channel which we need to actively monitor. And if I'm a brand manager of, let's say, a beer company, to me, anything and everything happening in the beer world is key. So I would like to monitor all of that globally. And if specifically I'm looking at, let's say, a new country like Argentina, I want to go there, and there's a big sports event or some annual event happening, what are the respondents talking there? And how do we benefit from it? And if my brand is being advertised there, how do I create a bigger awareness there? So I need to monitor the entire sports channel over there and see who is talking what. And that's how those sports channels become interest to me as well. So it's just not only your website or a smaller space. You got to watch out for the bigger event going on there so that you will be able to participate there.
I think I'm going to ask this question from you. It's basically a question that I've been coming again and again with, this, especially Adblock. So it's interesting. How would you recommend reaching out to your audience digitally and provide an experience when there are more and more people opting to stay away from this? I know that multinational companies pay money to Adblock to make sure that their advertising are shown. That's a way of solving that, but obviously everybody can't do that. So any particular way that you are thinking about addressing that?
See, as a concern factor, ad blocking should not affect advertisers a lot. Till the time they are doing third-party ad serving and delivering the ad themselves, okay, you can avoid ad blocking. So for example, if suppose today you're buying, say, 1 million impressions on a specific site, okay, and you only pay the publisher when you have actually delivered those 1 million impressions. If there are ad blockings in place, okay, the ad might be blocked, but you are not delivered your impression. So it is very important to control the measurement at the advertiser end rather than keep it to the publisher end. So that's one way that normally a lot of markets are getting way through. The other piece on ad blocking is that there is a lot of politics and there is technology wars between companies and publishers, which is kind of also creating this whole problem in the place. But as advertisers, we should not be too much worried about it.
Sure, understand. Supun, a question for you. Essentially, there have been questions about the platform that you spoke about. I know that at the moment it's not available for maybe a smaller SMB kind of, which I think is something you should make very fast. But question is, right now, as a brand, if I want to communicate on a mobile platform to an audience, what are your 3-4 things that you would recommend to increase the engagement and experience that people can use, that you recommend? I'm not talking only about Dialogue or Axiata Group as a thing, but as overall, what do you think are the 3 things that you have noticed seems to be working?
I think as a brand, we are increasingly moving money to digital. So mobile advertising is good, but still in terms of richness of the content that you deliver is weak. So as Robi as a brand, when we invest close to $20-30 million every year, we have started moving all that money, at least a good chunk of our offline spend into digital, because we have fairly good set of information about the customer. As Atik mentioned, the click-through rates and also the conversions. And there's better visibility on ROI. Instead of putting a shop board or you call it a festoon or a retailer poster, and it will get washed away in the monsoon. Gradually, we are moving out of that trade marketing stuff. Gradually, we are moving out of home stuff, because it's increasingly challenging as a brand when you are spending large sums to track the actual spend of it, the effectiveness, and relative to the digital media. So, and there's platforms that gives visibility on our advertising across all, be it Google, Facebook, and the other internet mediums. This also gives us, say, the music service I mentioned. You cannot completely rely on digital. That is a myth. I think even if you see the commerce brands like a Flipkart, they will start on ATL. They will start with a TV campaign, then support with digital. If I try only to do a campaign on digital, it is not going to fly. So I need the mass audience to start talking about the campaign on TV. So TV is still a powerful medium. And then I can target through social media and digital advertising. This particular music service we also saw that there is click-through rates, pay on installation, but from installation to actual listening of music, we lose 50%. They download the app also. So we pay the digital Facebook or Google on the download. So they download, but they don't use, 50% doesn't use. Because maybe in the registration we ask for the email address and customer doesn't know what an email address is.
Understand. It's a very different type of challenges faced with. So Naresh, I wanted to ask you this question. Now, you said about rural trying to buy more and housewives and all that, because there are a couple of questions that have been coming up in this one. Now, do you do any type of consistent monitoring about how your experiences are on your e-commerce platform? And to what level are you doing it? And do you absolutely, now I know you said about scale and the challenges and all that, but do you hope to like make it even different, or how do you handle this problem you have? Because you can't say that I don't have scale and still lose to big players all the time, right? Then you are going to be out of business.
Yes, we as a company, we invest a lot in terms of getting better at what we do. We look at and we analyze data for us to be targeting the right products to the right customers rather than just bombard them with everything and anything that we have. And also, we have also been in the forefront in breaking the norms of e-commerce being limited just within the Western province. As at present, we have taken the online brand out to the rural parts of Sri Lanka. And we have seen good take-up. Customers...
But that is only the first-time users, right? When the user gets more sophisticated, he would need more from you, right?
Definitely, and that's where inventory and localizing what we do will matter. There's no point for us to go out to, let's say, one part of Sri Lanka and promote a wearable Fitbit. We need to be relevant to what we're pushing out there. So that's something that we are heavily investing in. And we have seen that the initiation grow traction. And that's something that we will continue to focus on and take to the other parts of Sri Lanka.
So Neil, one of the questions that I'm sure that we all wanted to ask is that this is all great. There seems to be platforms available. Dialog seems to be, Aksara Group seems to be coming up with platforms that will help us to do a lot of experience management, real-time data, etc. So digitally, we are obviously going to be very sophisticated, if not today, within the next 12 to 18 months. And we can achieve the target of a person, marketing to a person of one. Organization-wise, brand managers in multinational companies, medium-sized companies who have been doing marketing till cows come home, in ATL, PR, all of that. There has to be some changes that is required in terms of organization, in terms of skill set, in terms of talent. Would you like to add something in terms of being able to cater to this programmatic buying, to all of that? What are the skill sets? What are the changes? What are the things that is needed for an organization to be able to handle all of this?
Okay. So first, by enabling a company into social, what are we actually making them? We are making them more agile. As I said in my presentation, social enablement is not about only one LOB. It's for the entire company. So whatever we do in social platform, the benefit of that should come to all the departments. Now, these tools, these social solutions are something which are so easily implemented, so fast they are implemented, you would actually be surprised to hear you won't need any additional types of resources required to manage them. Pretty much your IT partner should be able to do it. So your key focus should be what you want to do from the social data you are collecting and how you are putting the data back to your various LOBs. Information about a new product line or a change to your product is something which goes to your product development team directly. And they are more agile. They will be able to come up with a new product line with these inputs. And they will be able to interact directly with this group of people, those who are their loyal product user for so many years. So your company can become more agile, and there is very little you need to do internally in your company. Obviously, you would be needing a set of products and services with which you will be socially enabled.
Right, thanks, Sunil. So I think I'm just checking whether there's any question, because guys, I'm seeing a lot of questions, but I'm trying to make sure that it is within the scope that we are talking about. As I said, there are certain things that I think are not topics, like privacy. There are a lot of questions that have been coming in, etc. So, and then ethical standards, etc. So I wanted to just raise one question to Supun, because we are almost running out of time. Can you comment about just give us 3 things over the next 3 to 5 years that's going to be very exciting for brand managers in mobile?
So I'm also not a fortune teller, but I'll try and tell based on what are the trends that we have seen in the developed world. So digital, for sure, you need to really look at it and put more money behind that, and be smart at it, and then invest and make sure that you generate that return. That is one big area. The other one is the interaction with the consumer. So once you do the digital, then how can you get into a interaction relationship? I think Dialog did with Odell the beacon technology, where you place sensors, and then if you go to a place where there's a sensor, and then you get offers. So try and build a real-time affiliation with the consumer. So it's not pushing stuff to the consumer. There's a matching, and then based on that, that transaction or that advertising will get displayed. That should get more and more, because as I mentioned, IoT is going to come, and IoT will be, these consumer applications will be significantly influencing the brand managers going forward. You need to make use of this information set to drive. The third one is probably still, I would stick to the basic of the customer experience transformation. That is something that we, as a country, Sri Lanka, because I think Sri Lanka should be proud that we are within the top 50 countries in terms of broadband availability in the world. We are ahead of Australia, we are ahead of Malaysia. But in terms of adoption of these services, we are nowhere. So it is beyond the telcos, or it is beyond the technology companies, that the rest of the community, corporate community, needs to come together to take advantage of this infrastructure. I don't have this infrastructure in Bangladesh, but you have it in Sri Lanka. And you need to make use of that infrastructure because it's going to be a low-cost medium. It is much cheaper, and it is personalized.
Thanks, Supun. I think there's an interesting question for you on the screen. I'll just read it out. In a B2C scenario, you may create awareness and even certain interest on a product through social media. But how can you then graduate those customers using their individual profiling data to convert? Would you like to take that question?
I'm not sure if I've got the question correctly yet.
Right, so, okay, sorry, I think I'll ask that question from Sunil. Let me come back to you on this. I couldn't capture who spoke about IoT in the apparel industry. There was an example that was mentioned here as a question. I'd like to know whether did we discuss? There's a question saying someone mentioned about it and they wanted to elaborate that. I thought that was an interesting question. Sorry, guys, don't remember that. Okay.
I think the Odell one, that was the Odell one, which is more retail experience. But IoT on apparel also is getting used. The first step is giving an NFC card to the machine operator when she or he gets into the bus. You know the machine operator got into the bus, so the factory line can plan the line to make sure that all the operators are there without wasting another half an hour till they come to the factory. That is one simple IoT. In Bangladesh, we just did one project with a garment factory where we gave about 15,000 smartphones to all the machine operators, and they are putting applications onto that smartphone to track productivity of the machine operator, and that is also available at an aggregated level. So apparel industry is also striving to see how can you bring in these technologies to improve the productivity.
Yep, great. So I mean, since we are running out of time, I think I found the question. Sorry, I think it was running around and I kind of missed it. Arthik, as mentioned, the platforms are not allowing data transfers between each other to utilize the wealth if data that we can capture through social media. So I think the data wealth that you can capture from social media, but you can't utilize it because of the transferring is not allowed between. How can we overcome this challenge affordably?
Okay, there is not a yes and a no answer to that, unfortunately, because there are certain providers like, I don't want to name them, but what they would do is they'll
Please name them.
No, I can't. They will go ahead and cage that data so that you can't port that data out and make it used further for your marketing insights. But as advertisers, we need to understand that, yes, that data kind of belongs to them, but then the advertising that you do on their specific platforms, okay, that's the data point that you can own. And that can be migrated through data management platforms, through just to name some of them is Lotame, Adobe, etc. And you basically using that data management platforms, you can then take it to other platforms like GDN network or probably any other advertising solutions, etc.
Right. So closingly, 3 points that you think every organization should think about when approaching programmatic advertising.
I think something which was mentioned in my slides, like analyze, attribute, and evolve, because we are all learning in the process. Even companies like Google and Facebook are learning, to be honest.
Thanks, Atik. Naresh, especially about e-commerce, what does the future look like? What are the 3 things that actually you think that's going to be really critical for e-commerce success in Sri Lanka?
I think getting the first and the last mile is very important. Because that's
when you say first and the last mile, would you elaborate for a moment?
From the point of getting the customer onto your site to delivering your product at the doorstep of a customer. That's what the infrastructure here is lacking the most. Engaging with your customers and being relevant, knowing what their types, what they like to purchase, what products they like to purchase. And bringing in that convenience, because everyone who gets onto an online site is looking for convenience. So those would be the 3 points.
Right. Thanks, Naresh. Sunil, last question to you. Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Pinterest, YouTube, Vine all became successful without ATL, because Supun actually commented about ATL, and I disagree with him completely. But what is your take on that? So he said ATL is needed for you to actually start pushing it, and then digital can be a supportive medium. Whereas there's a feedback saying that most of these organizations now completely spot and asking you which side are you going to take.
No, I think it's see, what basically I'm saying is any company which is doing a brick and mortar business already, and social becomes a new channel available to them, and this new channel poses a lot of opportunity for you to grab the attention of your existing customers, new prospects. The question which was asked some time back was also that if you see certain behavior of your existing customer or a prospect, what do you do with it? Yes, the answer to that question is yes. I mean, you can do a lot with that. We actually call that as a social body language. If it's a company or an individual, we understand his body language, and based on that, we take corrective action. So
very diplomatic answer, Sunil. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Lakshman, over to you. Thank you very much, everyone.
Okay, thanks. Before I thank personally our panel, I have few things to contribute. Somebody asked, there are a lot of guys from MAs here. I believe at least 25, 30 or 35. There are a lot of guys from MAs here. What is that IoT company? Ensiga. Ensiga is a Sri Lankan company, or actually based in Singapore. I believe that they do a lot of work with MAs. So the guys who want to know about IoT in apparel industry, how it is used in the production line, I suggest that talk to them. Then I think there are at least 4 or 5 people from MAS brands. I don't know how many of you have heard about Ultimo. Okay, go to ultimo.co.uk, I think, and this is a website. No one will think a brand generated from Sri Lanka. And Charu told about, okay, leverage digital to invade other countries and win the market. So that's a fantastic lesson you can learn from MAS brands. By the way, full disclosure, I'm not paid anything from by MAS. Not yet. I hope that they will write a check. So I just want to contribute, and there are MAS guys here. You should be able to learn much more. There's a pleasant task to perform. There are 3 boxes I have. These are gifts from Sampath Bank. I have absolutely no idea what inside, but I reliably understood that from very reliable source that each of these boxes contain debit card with 1 million rupees already credited. May I invite Nadi Dharmasuri, Head of Marketing, Sampath Bank, over here for the raffle draw. Hi, Nadi. So Nadi has the cup, please. Yep. Here the that. Oh, I forgot to put my card. And those people who put credit card, they are all liabilities wiped out. Wow. MS Capital Private Limited, IT division, manager SAP basis. Chandramouli Balachandran. Mr. Balachandran from MAS Brands. Okay, here's the guy you need to catch about, Ultimo. I believe I get my commission. Here comes the second 1 million rupees. Shane Pierce, CEO, founder. I don't see a company. Oh, Chipset Worldwide, another company which is invading the whole world. Shane? Shane is not here? Here comes Shane. Sorry. The last 1 million rupee prize goes to this is not fair. I know what you did. You bribed your former colleague. Yes. Yes, your former boss. Now, this is not fair at all. Roshan Kalwarachi, CEO of SLT, Human Capital Solutions. Roshan, are you here? Not here? Okay, no, we have to get another one thing. Yeah. That's Lakmal Rodrigo from Manager Digital Delivery, British Council. Oh. Thank you so much, Nadi. Okay, I also would like to make once again remind you, there's a TNS booth outside. You can test yourself how digitally connected you are. I think it takes less than 30 minutes. And the lucky winners will get one workshop free on their world-famous digital connected live workshop. And I also want to thank once again MIT for bringing Sunil over here from SRM to deliver this talk about SRM. MIT Millennium MIT is Sri Lanka's largest systems integrator and software products organization, leading market segments such as capital markets, banking, tech, telecom, and hospitality, now introducing breakthrough SRM solutions. Continue to be Sri Lanka's flag bearer of technology to the world. So that's about MIT. I'm inviting everybody, all of you, for a short break, 20 minutes lunch break. No, I'm joking. Okay. Now it is 1:20. We'll be back at 1 o'clock. And before that, please put your, oh, sorry, 2 o'clock. Okay, okay, 2 o'clock. And please put your hands together and thank our penalty. Oh, wonderful. Absolutely great.
Lead sponsor.
We are the ones who transform a challenge into endless opportunities. We are the ones who let our work define us with our goal to be the best. We are the ones who never stop. And we are the ones who change the face of technology. A partnership with us results only in success, as we always work with integrity, innovation, and